And good evening, everybody. Welcome
Championship Week.
Championship Week's Video Notebook, volume, I guess, 0 even. Where's the start?
Right, yes.
Show, maybe. I'm your host, Chad Sherwood, joined by David Griggs and John Stalika down below. Like I said, this is the first of our Championship Week Video Notebooks. We're coming to you here live on tape delay on Sunday evening around 10:30 p.m.
Yes. And tonight we have a very exciting show. We're going to show you the survival board. There's 333 teams on it. We're going to run through all 333. We're going to be here for 5 hours.
No, David, we're not doing that tonight.
Oh, we're not?
No, we're going to do. There's going to be a separate show that you're going to do all by yourself that does that.
Oh.
Okay. But
that's not fun.
But I want to start briefly just telling you what we're going to be doing for these video notebooks. We're going to kind of have the same format for most nights. We're going to start with doing our video notebook mailbag, and that's one of our exciting new features. People are invited to tweet us, email us, let us know your questions. We will read them live on the air and get responses from our esteemed panelists here.
Yes.
We will then also be doing some news and notes. And in fact, for tomorrow night, for Monday night, we're going to do a full Hoops HD report in that news and notes section. So we'll have a full show tomorrow night. Yep. We're going to review the day's conference tournament games. We're going to preview the next days, and we're going to update our survival boards every single night from here until Selection Sunday.
Yes.
Even if we're up till 3 o'clock in the morning doing this, we're going to do it, damn it.
Yes, we will, and we will be.
Stalika may fall asleep on us down there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think you're confusing me for another panelist.
Yeah, was it Joby that fell asleep during? It wasn't during a show, but it was during it was one of the funniest things I have ever experienced in my life.
Sadly, that was before my time.
Yes, I'm still laughing about it.
I actually want to start with the notebook. Did have a couple. The mailbag, and a couple of questions did come in. First, actually, is for you, Stalika, and it was based upon this comes from. John from California, actually, another John actually came in with a question here and wants to know, based upon the Illinois State and Wichita State both winning last night and finishing tied, you've been a big fan of this Illinois State team, all teams. But Stalika, do you feel that if a third team wins the conference tournament, like a Northern Iowa or Indiana State, John Rothstein's favorite team, do you feel that the Missouri Valley Conference would actually end up with 3 bids in that case?
I think 3 bids is going to be very unlikely and probably would cost Illinois State, given that they're going to be slightly below Wichita State in the pecking order here.
All right. Well, John from California, there's your answer. It will only be 2 bids, and Stalika says so. And
I think it would be 3, but that's
the question wasn't to you, David. Actually, I did have one for you as well, though. This came by mail here. I got the letter right here.
Okay. Yes.
Dear David, we are writing to thank you for your recent subscription to MatchMe.com.
What? No, that shouldn't have gone to you.
In response to your inquiry, once again, we do not have any, and there's a quote here, well-proportioned female shark puppets that like watching me get drunk every night.
Chad, you shouldn't be reading that. I didn't send that.
We recommend that you broaden your search criteria and consider joining AA.
I don't have – it's not my fault. I don't have a mailing address, so they don't get sent to – I just used the P.O. box at the office.
I'm just reading the questions. That's just my job. But thank you for Matchmaker.com for sending in the request. We will keep reading your questions.
But if anyone is interested, not that I sent that in, but if anyone is interested.
Let's go ahead. We are not actually going to do any of the news and notes today. There was a lot of big games, but we are going to focus on all that tomorrow night in Hoops HD. So, Stalika, can you review for us the conference tournament games that actually happened today?
Conference tournament games, we had a few games in the Horizon and Metro Atlantic that went final. And the funny thing about the Metro Atlantic is we actually had the number 10 and number 11 spots actually decided by a coin flip.
Yeah.
I believe Marist actually won the coin flip against Manhattan. So congratulations, you're number 10, Steve Masiello. You've gone from the penthouse down to the outhouse.
Yeah, we really didn't have any conference tournament games. I was just throwing John a loop there, but
yes, but that was the greatest thing that happened all day, maybe all season. The fact that they decided not just any position, but last place via coin flip. That's a phenomenal thing.
Let's get to the real reason we're doing this show tonight here, because there are 4 conference tournament games tomorrow, and I'm going to go ahead and pull them up on the screen here. We can see them right here. It is the Atlantic Sun. It doesn't say that on the screen. Maybe I scroll below it. No, it doesn't. Oh, there it says 2017 Atlantic Sun Tournament, but there
Right.
it is. Tomorrow is quarterfinal day, 4 games. Florida Gulf Coast hosting Stetson, South Carolina Upstate hosting Kennesaw, North Florida hosting Jacksonville in the huge rivalry game there, and Lipscomb hosting NJIT.
Yeah.
David, any thoughts about these 4 games tomorrow, and do you see any upsets happening?
Well, since you touched, I mean, I know we touched on it during our last Under the Radar, but it's just amazing how this played out. Because you have Gulf Coast and Stetson and North Florida and Jacksonville playing each other. Like half the games are rivalry games and they're the travel partner games. As far as any major upsets, I'm not really seeing it. It'll be interesting to see what Jacksonville does against North Florida. I don't think Gulf Coast is going to have too much trouble with Stetson. And Lipscomb red hot this year, and NJIT, former team of the people, not so hot.
Yeah, I can actually show us the standings here, possibly. No, I can't. I seem to have lost them.
I was going to say, as it relates to NJIT, Damon Lynn has actually been injured since their first game at Florida Gulf Coast, so I don't expect them to be a factor at all.
This is the ASUN standings from this year, so you can see that. I think, obviously, the 4-5 game, 2 teams that both finished 7-7 in conference. Generally, the 4 or 5 games are your best games of the quarterfinal round, and to the extent we're going to get an upset tomorrow night, that's the one that I'd be keying on. Sleek, would you agree with me?
I'd probably be looking at the River City rivalry between North Florida and Jacksonville as a possible upset. But then again, Stetson did play Florida Gulf Coast tough on the road in the finale.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, I could actually bring up that score here too, possibly, if we can see if everything works on the show here tonight. I didn't quite get prepared for this, but I tried anyhow. There's that Florida Gulf Coast. You can see there. It was a 10-point final in the last game of the season at home against Stetson, but it was much closer than that. The Gulf Coast kind of pulled away at the very, very end to make that a 10-point game.
Yeah.
And if you look what happened the first time they played at Stetson, it was a 1-point game. So they better not be sleeping on them.
Yeah, they really shouldn't. Gulf Coast, we've been projecting them onto our 15 line. I think that's about where the real committee would have them. I think that's where our committee guessing expert, John Teitel, has them. Everybody else, we're thinking 16 is the ceiling and most likely first 4, aren't we?
Yeah, the one thing I'll say about Gulf Coast is I think that this is either first or second in the nation. They've won, I believe we count them up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 consecutive road games. I believe that's second behind Gonzaga, the entire nation, for road winning streaks. So
yeah, they've won a lot, and these are snake pits. I mean, I know it's a bus league, and you're not talking about these massive arenas, but it's not the easiest place to play. And if you get the chance, which you should, if you're watching this show, then you'll probably be watching tomorrow. If you've not seen the Atlantic Sun before, I think the lasting impression we hear from the conference tournament year after year after year when those semifinals and finals games are on national television is, geez, could you believe the noise and the atmosphere at that game? It's not the only reason I bring that up. It's, first of all, watch the tournament. It's going to be great. But secondly, it's not. This isn't the easiest league to win in on the road. We've seen court stormings in quarterfinal games before.
We have. You have one more thought about it, then?
I have a new email from the mailbag here. It comes from Will in Nashville. He wants to know that if we're projecting Florida Gulf Coast on the 15, how can 16 be their ceiling, Mr. Puppet?
16.
He didn't say 16 was their ceiling. He said 16.
I said that's for the rest of the league.
Yeah. Yeah, pay attention, Sleeker. Come on.
Yeah.
But actually, tell Will to pay attention.
Well, Will needs to pay attention.
Yeah, Will needs to pay attention. We're projecting everyone else. I actually think Gulf Coast has a shot at the 14 line, especially if you get a few upsets in other tournaments.
Right,
and they win this. But let me ask each of you, we're going to do this every time we start a new conference tournament. Let me run through each of you. Who is your pick to win it? David, let me start with you.
Gulf Coast, all the way at home.
Gulf Coast all the way at home. Stalika, you agree?
I'm actually going to go with Lipscomb right here to claim their first trip to the NCAA tournament.
I'm actually going to go with John on this one also. I think that Gulf Coast has been such a great road team. The problem is they got to play all these games at home. I think they'll get by Stetson. I think they could get upset in their semifinal, and Lipscomb could end up taking this thing. So I'm kind of with you there.
Lipscomb played them tough as well. I think Lipscomb beat them.
Lipscomb beat them at Gulf Coast. We could pull that.
Yeah. So it's not a crazy pick. Lipscomb, and again,
right there.
Record isn't quite as bloated as Gulf Coast, but if you look at what they did, and we've pointed this out before, out of conference, how tough they played in some of those games. You know, they played Belmont very close twice. Played, click on Lipscomb right there. Right there. Just click up. Or right there. Yeah, there. Okay, they're on there twice. Yeah, is their profile. And again, 16 and 12, it doesn't jump out at you because they didn't quite break the 20 mark for Division I wins. This is a fabulous profile here on the screen.
Wonderful, David. You make me click weird buttons. I don't know what happened. So.
Yeah. But anyway, well, yeah, we can't see it, but it's pretty good. Yeah, we're off to a great start.
They had the great games against the close games against Belmont.
There it is. And right as it comes up, Ken just decides to close it.
Right on cue.
Oh,
I will try one last time here, just for sake. Let's see if we get that back. There it is. There's Lipscomb profile. Start off really
early
slow.
In the year, lots of losses, but playing Fordham again, Atlantic 10 team that's trending up. Close. Well, I guess that wasn't very close, but the two games that stuck out at me were how they did against Belmont and Tennessee State.
And Belmont both times actually.
Right. Yeah.
Losing to Fairleigh Dickinson wouldn't be recommended either.
Yeah, that'd be fairly ridiculous to lose to Fairleigh Dickinson.
Right.
Let's go to the final stage of our show tonight, actually, though. And what we like to do at the end of each show is we're going to be updating our survival board. We normally will be updating it live on the air, actually, or live on tape delay. We're not going to do that tonight, but this is our survival board. There it is. Heading into championship week, 333 teams remain alive.
Yeah.
We're going to start seeing teams falling off very quickly as we start playing these conference tournaments, though.
Right. Tomorrow we'll be down to 329. I went back and checked, and I don't believe we've ever had this many teams at the start of championship week. I don't think. At least, not since we started doing the survival board.
Probably not, because we probably have 6 or 7 extra teams in the Ivy League that are still alive that we've never had alive before, among other things.
Yeah, among other things, some of the transitional programs eligible now. The first year we started doing this, and this was long before the birth of Hoops HD, we just did it kind of in an email thread. There were only 300 at the start of championship week. Not that 300 is a small number, but there's 33 more teams now that can win the national championship.
And just the key to this screen is right here on it as well. And you can see there, teams that we've put in bold are locks. No matter what happens, we believe they will make the field. Teams that are in italics can still get an at-large bid. They may need to win every single game up to the conference tournament championship game to get it, but they are still mathematically alive for that. Teams that are normal type have to win their conference tournament. And beginning Saturday, you're actually going to see teams show up in bold and in all caps, and those will be your automatic bid winners. So those are coming soon as well. But I guess on that note, let me pull this down here and ask you each of you if you have any final thoughts for the night, because I think we're done. Stalika?
This took a little bit of lobbying between Chad and David and some of the other committee members, but I've convinced everyone to get on board for at least one more year of following a lose and you're screwed team along with the team of the people. Teams that we're actually going to be assigning are going to be the Penn Quakers.
And he was muted. David, any questions?
We're not doing that again. We have doomed teams that otherwise deserve to do better. My final thought is just, again, this is the most indelible part of the season. I love the entire season, but you can guarantee that over the next 2 weeks and then in the NCAA tournament after that, you're going to see things that are really exciting that you're going to remember for years. You don't know what they're going to be, but it's just a really exciting time. And I realize that a lot of people don't really look at these games with as much attention yet, but they are elimination games. And you like stakes games. All of these are stakes games, and the stakes are if you lose, you're done, and if you win, you get to play another day. So what's more fun than that? Even in the Atlantic Sun, you have everybody fighting for their lives, and it's just the higher the stakes, the more exciting it is, and they just don't get any higher than this.
And you don't get much more exciting than Angry Frank right there on the screen. So on that note, on behalf of John Stalika and David Griggs, I want to thank everyone for joining us. We'll be back again tomorrow night and every night until we have a field of 68 announced. Thanks for joining us, everyone, and have a great evening.